My name is Joe Van Wyck and I live in Austin, Texas. I'm doing a series exploring mindfulness, not because I'm an expert, but because I'm a learner. Please click subscribe to watch more. My wife Sandra and I were on a once-in-a-lifetime vacation with our mothers, and we're in far west Texas. We came out here primarily to go to the McDonald Observatory, and we're going to do that tonight. But this morning we're exploring this beautiful place. It's called the Chihuahuan Desert Nature Center. And I thought that I'd start the day off being mindful of little things, of small things. I'm going to be shooting with my Leica Q, but shooting in macro mode because it has this killer macro setting, and just getting a feel for what the desert plant life has, and just be in discovery mode, really being mindful and trying to be in the present moment. Years ago, I was listening to a meditation from Andrew Weil, who I just admire so much. And the meditation took us from where we were sitting in the chair, let's say, way out to the heavens and beyond all the galaxies and superclusters and whatever, and then back to our body and back down to the cellular level. And I've never forgotten that meditation and how powerful that was for me. And it taught me that that journey outside of myself was all in my mind, and that there was this tremendous power of my mind and my imagination that could take me to beyond the edges, the boundaries of outer space, and then down to the subcellular level inside my body. So I think I'm going to try shooting some more point of view photography with my GoPro Hero 5 mounted on top of my Leica Q. So let's see how that works. I'm going to point it downward. It's important to realize that I don't think that the Leica Q necessarily is a one-to-one macro. I'm not really sure about that, but you can only get so close. So I will be cropping some things in, probably showing them to you at 100%. But let's see how it turns out. Sandra pointed out that these seeds on this bush right here are actually translucent, and you can see the berries inside them through this yellow skin. Let me see if I can catch this. This plant is called an Apache plume, and I can't say that I've ever seen a plant other than a cotton boll or something with such wispy flowers on it. So this is called an Evergreen Sumac, and one thing that my little mindfulness antenna showed me about this is that that it has a little bit of a fuzz on these berries. And I see this one cluster of plant life right here, and there's no way I could count the number of different plants here. And I thought how mindful it would be to look at the group of them and how beautiful that is, as well as to go in and to notice some of the individual parts of the group. Sandra noticed this black brush acacia. So on first glance you would just notice these gigantic thorns on it, but then when you look closer, and I'm going to try to do this without without getting stuck, there are these delicate clusters of leaves inside the thorns, and it just makes you think that any animal that tried to get to those leaves would have to really, really work for it. This is another acacia bush, and it has these pea pods, and I was just noticing the coloration of them and how beautiful they are. This kind of makes me think of the part that's green, as well as the part that's dead and decayed. The cycle of life. Another thing that really helps me get mindful is to look at the, no, I'm not hugging it, but just to look at the bark on a tree. It's so rough, protecting that tree on the inside. I've always loved this type of cactus. I don't know the name of it, but I noticed that that the individual limbs almost have a woven look. It's easy to just look at the thorns, but you look at the see how that it's almost woven, and then how these tips have these gorgeous yellow flowers, but they're really just the tips. And I'm sure there's some fancy Latin name here, but I know of these as prickly pear cactus, and they're as common in Texas as cattle. And oh, the coloration. This tree almost has a purple hue to it, and it has all of this bark that just flakes off like a cedar tree. It's some sort of exfoliation. And of course, once again, I stop myself and realize that I'm not noticing plants and the micro details of plants just for, you know, the purpose of naming them or the purpose of being smart and spiritual, but rather to be mindful. And once again, that amazing thing happens when I stop and I realize that this whole time I haven't thought of my problems and my stuff out there at all. All I'm thinking about is this micro detail and the beauty of the things that I'm seeing, and slowing down, definitely. All of the cacti that they cultivate inside this greenhouse is found throughout the Chihuahuan Desert in parts of Texas and New Mexico and way down into Mexico. So one cool mindfulness technique is the technique of touching and texture. Let me get a close look at this. These cacti that look like they're so soft and furry. What do you think? Should I touch it? Better not. Why don't we try to look for patterns? Patterns are a great way to sort of just lose our mind into the moment and marvel at nature and how and why these patterns exist. So last night we were getting ready for dinner, and I wanted to put on a shirt that was that light green lime color, and a pair of pants that was that kind of that blue-ish color. Sandra convinced me that they worked well together, and now that I see this together, God's creation, I guess they do. So isn't that a funny thing about nature, is that we never look out in nature and sit there and analyze whether things match or not? Just a thought. Well, it's not very botanical, but I'm gonna see if I can get a shot, a close-up shot of this dog's eye. Yeah, you're a good boy. Here we have these caterpillars.
Yeah.
So beautiful. Hopefully we see butterflies too, but they're just all over this bush. Well, we're finishing our little tour of the Chihuahuan Desert Nature Center at a beautiful butterfly garden, and it's been great to get mindful and to think small. Next thing you're going to see is big. We're going to go really, really big tonight and have an amazing experience at the McDonald Observatory. Many of the photos you're getting ready to see are courtesy of the observatory and noted photographers. The rest are straight out of the Leica Q. The historic McDonald Observatory is located in far west Texas outside of Fort Davis, and it's one of the most predominant observatories in the world due to many factors, including its amazing scientists and things like low light pollution, latitude, and its high altitude. When you go to the observatory, it is definitely an educational experience. You have the opportunity to go on tours of the domes there. At night, we got to experience what is called the Star Party, where the audience gets to observe the heavens from an amphitheater while an astronomer directs your attention with a powerful laser pointer into corners of outer space. Being there made me want to look up more often. Not just glance up, but really observe parts of the heavens above. To gaze upon the cluster of stars that can be in the smallest area yet represent such vastness. In that Andrew Weil meditation, I learned that we have a built-in transporter more powerful than any machine man has ever made, the mind. The mind can take us to the far recesses of space and then back down inside our own body to the space between the smallest cells. All the trip takes is a little imagination. Thanks for joining me on this journey.